Good morning, gang. Happy Saturday morning. We're going to do something just very light and easy and not get anybody's blood pressure up this morning. So it's Saturday, and like me, you guys are probably going to do something in regards to yard work this weekend, okay? Besides celebrating Easter and all. Now, depending on where you are, maybe you're just starting your seeds now. Maybe you're like me and getting ready to put them in the ground. Uh, you saw yesterday my complete screw up with tomatoes, but it'll still work. Somebody had a great idea to pull a couple of them out and plant them in separate places in the yard, and that way they can kind of self-pollinate, and I'll be able to save seeds. So to the person who gave me that idea, I thought it was brilliant, great. Never thought of it myself. It's like, it's why we all do this, okay? We bounce ideas off each other and help each other. I was out transplanting my seedlings yesterday, okay? 511 plants. Yeah, okay, got lots of stuff to plant. But the big question always comes up, and I get this quite often in live streams or in emails or in comments or whatever, is what fertilizer do I use for what plants? And the big box stores and the big companies will tell you all the time, oh, just put some 10-10-10 out and you'll be fine. No, not really. Okay. Different plants have different needs, and you have to know a little bit about the plant as to what to put in, because otherwise you could be doing damage to the plant or damage to your wallet. No need to put 10-10-10 in if the plant doesn't need it, okay? And if anybody's priced fertilizer lately, you know it ain't cheap, okay? I think when we were planting grass seed out in the backyard, I paid like $60 for a big bag of just lawn fertilizer, just nitrogen. I think it was $39.00 or something like that. That's a lot of freaking money, okay? And unfortunately, no, there's no way I'm going to come up with enough coffee grounds to do that. So yes, I had to buy it. But the other thing is, when you come to your vegetable plants, do you want to be using all that chemical fertilizer? Sure, it works, no question. The problem is with the chemical fertilizers is you're also over time depleting your soil. Makes the plants grow great this year, and next year you go and you put them in, you put more fertilizer in, you put more fertilizer in, you put more fertilizer in. And the next thing you know, basically what you've done is you've killed all the life in your soil. You've depleted your soil completely, because the plants take up what they need. No, they'll take up more out of the chemical stuff. You burn your plants, you guys know that. But you don't have any of the natural nutrients, if you will, that you're putting into the soil. And so you could actually be doing long-term damage to your garden by using the chemical fertilizers. So again, I'm going to suggest using the free stuff, the coffee grounds, the eggshells, the banana peels, the potato peels, the chicken bones, whatever it would be. But which one to use where? What do you need? All right. Now, I'll give you a couple examples. This time of year, we're planting our cole crops, our brassicas, our cabbages, our broccolis, our cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, whatever it would be. Okay. Those will do well with a well-balanced fertilizer. Something that you've got that has nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, a 10-10-10, or your homemade equivalent. So say roughly equal parts of eggshells, banana peels, coffee grounds, or I'm not sorry, not eggshells, banana peels, coffee grounds, and chicken bones. Chances are you're not going to have equal parts, but you're going to get whatever you need, because those plants need all the nutrients that can be found in those material, all three of the NPK, to grow well. It's also a time of the year we plant peas. Okay, now peas don't need everything. Peas don't need the uh, coffee grounds. So save those to use somewhere else. Why? Peas are a nitrogen fixer, which means literally what peas and beans, okay, do is they will pull the nitrogen out of the air, and it will go through the plant, and it attaches to the roots in little nitrogen nodules, right? So you don't have to add extra nitrogen to your peas, to your beans, to anything like that. You're just wasting money if you do. This is why you see the old Three Sisters technique, okay, bean, squash, and corn put together. Well, why? Corn is a very heavy nitrogen fixer, and if you put beans with it, or not nitrogen fixer, nitrogen user, feeder, that's the word I'm looking for. So corn needs a lot of nitrogen. Well, if you put the peas in, it's a nitrogen fixer, the corn can actually benefit from the beans fixing nitrogen, and hence it's a symbiotic relationship. Okay, so when you're planting your peas, don't worry about putting 10-10-10 in. The only thing, or preferably the homemade stuff, you just want to be using your banana peels, potato peels, chicken bones for it. That's it. Then you get into what's not ready to plant, at least for me yet, is your tomatoes and your peppers and things like that. All right, now tomatoes and peppers need the nitrogen, the phosphorus, the potassium. So again, the homemade balanced fertilizer, plus they need a lot of calcium. Now, there's plenty of videos out there on how to extract the calcium from eggshells. All right, you can crush up your eggshells, put it into some vinegar, and what the calcium will be extracted from the eggshells into the vinegar. The vinegar will neutralize, and what you have is a very high calcium fertilizer. That works great, okay? You're making a liquid fertilizer. It's good to add throughout the season. You also want to add the dry stuff to it, which I put in my soil every year when I plant, okay? Because calcium for tomatoes, for peppers, for things like that, that is what is usually, the lack of calcium is usually the cause of blossom end rot. So getting that calcium built up into your soil is very important to save your tomatoes. And you'll hear people, oh, you don't need to add calcium. The soil in the United States pretty much has enough. Nope, sorry, hate to tell you this, all right? I've had blossom end rot my first year growing tomatoes here because I didn't have enough calcium in the soil. Certainly I had it when I was out in Vegas. Adding calcium to your soil is important. And if you want to go buy calcium carbonate or calcium sulfate or something like that, that ain't cheap either, okay? So then you look at, after you've got it planted, you put in the granules, the ground up chicken bone, the ground up eggshells, coffee grounds, banana peels, whatever. And I've showed you guys how to make all that before, how to do it. But what do I do throughout the season? Fertilizing your vegetables is not a set it and forget it type thing, okay? It's not, gee, I put some fertilizer in at the beginning of the year. No, I'm done. For plants that you're going for your green growth, all right? You got to get green growth on your tomatoes, on your peppers. Cabbages are all green growth, okay? Any sort of leafy greens. They all need a lot of nitrogen. About every 2 weeks, what you need to do, and you can start doing this with your seedlings once you've once they've come up in their cups and they're like this big, and you transplant them into your solo cups or whatever. They need nitrogen to grow. And so a mix of your urine into a bucket of water is what you want to fertilize with. I'll give you this. It's about a 10-to-1 mixture. What I do, I've got a gallon pitcher that I use and a turkey baster. Okay. Pee in another pitcher. I put literally about one baster full of urine into one pitcher full of water, and I've got a good nitrogen dense liquid fertilizer basically instantly. Give you an idea how this works. It'll green up everything real quick. I put it out on plants a few weeks ago or a few days ago, and within a couple of days, I mean, they nearly doubled in size. Okay, just giving you this. For putting on for your overall maintenance, okay, for adding your liquid fertilizers, you want to do that somewhere between every 2 and 3 weeks. All right, so if you're going to be using a urine mixture or using a fish emulsion, which is another great way of getting fish. If you want to do that, you go catch some fish, put the fish in a bucket. If you can grind it up first, put it in a bucket, let it steep for a couple of weeks, you'll get a good fish emulsion. If you can get the water from your fish tank, if you've got a fish tank, that's good to use. But again, that's what you're putting on every couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, onto your plants to get healthy growth. Don't just think I have to go out and water, that's it. You need to learn your plants, what they need, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, what helps what grow, okay? And then use the appropriate fertilizers to get them to grow. You will get a bumper harvest that way. And I can say from experience, the trash that I get at home works just as well for me as going out and spending hundreds of dollars on fertilizer. I've been saving chicken bones and eggshells and everything like that, as I always do, all winter. I've got myself a few gallons of it right now, powdered up or ground up as much as you're going to grind it up. And I'll just spread it into the plot where I'm putting each particular vegetable. It's like, okay, here's some eggshells, here's some coffee grounds, here's some chicken bones, and I'm good. Then I will add on whatever fertilizers it needs, whether it's a banana tea, a compost tea, fish emulsion, a urine tea, whatever it would be. But go back if you're interested in how doing this. If you're new, there's a gardening playlist on the channel here, and I've got a couple of videos in there that you can go back on how to use your kitchen waste and how to make the fertilizers. You will find that you're going to save a ton of money. And considering all the layoffs we're seeing right now, and like the story this morning that Walmart is going to lay off something like 170,000 people because they're going to automate more of the stores and things like that. The more money you can save now, the less money you got to freak out about later. So if you can save some of the cash you have and grow some of the food, that's a win-win to me. Have a good Saturday, guys. Pinball out.